All right. Hello, Laura.
Hello, awesome. Good to see ya.
How you doing?
I'm really good. I'm feeling very summery in my Jays outfit. I hope everyone enjoys it. Little Friday vibes for you.
That's wonderful. You're a big baseball fan, are you?
I am since I was a little kid. I saw the Jays win the World Series, and it's more than we can say than we could for certain other Toronto teams that
Yes.
have not won in my lifetime or yours.
Hey, I'm used to it. So,
Rough.
yeah.
I'm sorry for your loss. How you doing today?
Yeah, it's going good. So, we're here to talk about LinkedIn growth hacking today.
Yes, we are. And I'm looking forward to it. I've got a lot to say on the matter.
Yeah, I don't know anyone in my network who has taken advantage of LinkedIn as much as you. Since the day I met you, you've been talking about LinkedIn. In fact, I met you at a LinkedIn live event, and you've been Miss LinkedIn as far as I'm concerned ever since. So let's talk about for a second. Let's talk about the importance of LinkedIn, right? Why is having a LinkedIn profile important, and why is it important? How do you use that to network?
So I've made LinkedIn my actual business since about 2016. I really saw the potential to put myself on a pedestal and to be my own PR machine, to make sure that I was well known and well respected in my industry as a thought leader, and made sure that I was building my personal brand that would be something that I could take to the bank for my whole career instead of just building up whatever company I happen to be with at the time. Even though I am a very loyal person in general, I have very long tenures with a few companies. I think it's fair to say that any one of us may have 8 to 9 jobs in their lifetime, and probably more like 20 these days. And for entrepreneurs like yourself, Asim, you have
Mhm.
a real estate license, you're a consultant, you have an engineering background, really successful real estate investor as well. And then for someone like me, also an entrepreneur, founder, fundraiser, um, marketer, like it's so important to just control the narrative on your personal brand and to become someone that's really well networked. And I think that one thing that people don't realize is LinkedIn isn't just for people that you met at a conference. It's for people that you intend to meet. It's for people that you intend to do partnerships and business with. It's for people that inspire you. It's for people that could be your customers one day. It's for any of those things and so much more. And I just a huge proponent of the platform, especially since it's kind of the only name in town
Yes.
for a specifically career networking social media platform.
All right. Now let's talk about growth hacking. When you talk about growth hacking, what do you mean, and why is it
So
important?
yeah, growth hacking is important because anyone that is an entrepreneur or in sales really needs to understand how to get attention. Attention is the biggest currency in this current economy, as well as information or correct information. And growth hacking is the ability to go viral, to be seen, to be heard, to amass a large mailing list, to scale your company at an inordinately high rate, to send the right signals to investors that you have traction. All of these things and more are really important. And growth hacking is when you take the reins and you start leveraging different tools, because we're in a different time, right? Before marketing, you could be Coca-Cola and put up a big banner or whatever in the middle of the square. That doesn't work for entrepreneurs that don't have these huge budgets. We need to get a little scrappier. So growth hacking is about getting attention and getting eyeballs on you without these massive budgets to just sponsor posts and pay per click.
Okay. Now, in a lot of the work that you do, you talk about building your brand and also building your audience. Which one is more important when it comes to growth, or which one is LinkedIn growth hacking more effective for? Building your brand or building your audience?
I would say that it's more effective for building your audience because building your brand is about the content that you're putting out. But with growth hacking, you can really get pretty far just going and looking at other people's content and say, okay, who commented on that? Let me go add those people to my network. Or I can use tools like Apollo to scrape that information and get a list of people that might be interested in the things that I'm going to say. But if you want to build your brand, you actually need to do the grunt work and share your story and let people know, like, and trust you.
Okay. Now you do this for yourself, but you also help others to do this as well. This has become a focus of your business.
Yeah, and I love it. I could share a bunch of profiles that I've worked to optimize and to really grow to become powerhouses all in and of themselves. And I think that every single person has an influencer in them. Everyone has this ability to grow your following to 30,000 plus. That's actually the max on LinkedIn for connections. And then the followers are gravy on top. But you have that under control. You can ask to connect with 30,000 other people and have 30,000 connections and message those people and add those people to your mailing list with an opt-in and leverage these connections for when you're going to different conferences in different areas or asking for partnerships, and nurture these contacts. So that's within everyone's ability, and I wanted to preach that.
All right, wonderful. Can you give us examples of how you've helped people to increase their networks and what impact that made on their lives or their businesses?
Certainly. So in the case of a financial recruiter, for instance, she's always looking for two things. One of them are candidates, and then the other one, she has a networking organization. So she's looking for entrepreneurs to join her networking organization where she's a chapter lead. So I first of all did a full head to toe rebrand so that everything was aligned. She was in the financial services space, but transitioned to recruitment within the last 2 to 3 years. So she didn't have a lot of people on her LinkedIn. She had about 2,000 when we started. Today, she has over 3,500 connections. And she has a automation tool called Dripify that we point at whatever kind of candidate she's hiring for. Then we have a message going out to them saying, hey, if you're looking to explore new opportunities, I have these positions available. Let me know if you'd like to chat. This is saving her 7-8 hours of grunt work a week. That's insane. All she has to do is show up for these qualifying calls and have a conversation. But everything else is on autopilot. And then in addition to that, we work on content together on a weekly basis. We sort of talk about what's going on in her life. And I help her sort of frame these stories of what she's doing and tie it into the broader picture of the value that she wants to give others with her content.
Okay, so let me see if I've got this right. The growth hack is building up your profile, building up your content, building your audience, using automation to find the people that you want to connect to, using the automation to set up the appointments, and then all you have to do is show up?
That's correct.
Wow, that's amazing.
And although there's other ways to do it, like I see people have ideas where, like, let's say you didn't have me as a coach, right? There's this thing called content engagement pods where you can join groups and you drop the link to your latest post. Then everyone will rush to like your post or comment your post. And this boosts the visibility, the amount of views you get. And it's a feedback loop. The more views you get, the more comments you get, the more engagement you get, the more, etc. Maybe some people follow you because they like it and so on. So there's a rule about what's called the golden hour. So the most critical hour after you post is going to determine whether more people see it or less. So you might notice that sometimes you get a couple 100 or 300 views on your post, and other times it's in the 3, 4, 5, 10,000s. What determines this? How many people engage with it at that first hour? That's going to determine that amount of views. So you can growth hack that by sharing the hyperlink to your post through these content engagement pods or group chats or whatever to increase your visibility. And of course, timing matters too. No one's going to be up at 4 a.m. to actually help you engage. So make sure that you're posting at a kind of a good sweet spot, or maybe around 12 EST. That works for PST or whatever else time zone.
Okay, let me see if I've got this right. So these pods, these are basically like volunteer, like people who volunteer to be
Yeah.
associated with each other. Or are they more paid services?
Oh no, this is like
No.
it's more like pro bono tit for tat thing, right? Like I'll like your stuff if you like my stuff. So it's just a two-way street.
So you have a network of people that you're connected that agree to support you, and I'm assuming you support them, right?
Yeah.
So you build each other up, and then you do it in such a way that you leverage the algorithms of LinkedIn so that LinkedIn gives you the highest visibility. And you can't do that. You can't do that unless someone's got your back.
That's true. You can't.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. So you can't be shy though. I think that's one major thing, right? There's another system where you can gain a lot of views and followers by simply making thoughtful comments on other people's posts. And if you decide, and there's no way to hack this. I'm sorry, you can't chat GPT your way to this as far as I know. Maybe you could, but like ideally it would be a genuine comment because people can kind of tell. Um, you can just spend an hour or something just going and commenting on people's posts. Aim for like 100 and look at the views that happen. People will start following you. You'll start comment threads. It's all about the law of reciprocity, right? Like you don't want to just be take. Hey, I'm going to add all these people to my LinkedIn. I'm never going to engage with them. I'm just going to post and hope that they like my post, but I'm going to act like you don't exist except for when I want something from you. Like that doesn't work. People can sense that. So I think part of it is really just buying in that LinkedIn is the platform that I want to play in, because I think it's very difficult to grow on multiple channels at once. And I think that's a bit of a mistake I see a lot of people do. It is possible to grow your LinkedIn and your email database simultaneously, but it is not, I think, going to play as well if you're posting the same things on TikTok as you are on LinkedIn.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that for a second. So, why would you choose LinkedIn over a TikTok or an Instagram?
I'm 38, so maybe that's part of it. But I see a lot of 20-somethings on LinkedIn. I think for me, it's about how I'm able to target my niche, my people, right? So for me personally, I'm interested in connecting with people that are across the financial services and real estate, as well as tech and investing and entrepreneurship in general. So I'm not as interested in like beauty technicians per se,
Okay.
or artists, although I am generally interested in artists, but I would go use Instagram for that, right? So in that sense, if I'm looking for my target market, let's say I'm looking to connect with financial services professionals to help them with their LinkedIn consulting. So I can just go and search connections, find everyone that's a mortgage, insurance, life agent, and say, okay, I want Toronto only, and generate a list of connections. There's 1,000 or 2,000 deep.
Sure.
I can plug that into my AI, send them messages, and start engaging on their content. So that's a very clear way that I can target my niche market that I just couldn't do on Instagram or on TikTok with the same ease.
All right. So are there any other tools that you'd like to talk about today? And I'd also invite anyone who's online, if they would like to ask any questions about tools that they're considering using, that they could put that in the comments as well. But over you to Laura. Any tools that you want to highlight?
Yeah. So I talk about Dripify a lot. I use it all the time. I'll put my Dripify link in the comments for anyone that's interested. But I think that it's a fantastic app. There's a few others like it. There is Phantom Buster, which is different. That's for multi-platforms, and it's more for scraping and data extraction. So who's following whom, what are their emails, what are their full names, where do they work? That's more useful for like a CRM. But again, you need to be careful with the opt-in there. And there's a few others that I haven't tried yet, like there's Expandy.io, which is automated outreach and lead gen. I think it's similar to Dripify. But I think what I can speak to is Apollo and Phantom Buster being very, very successful in what they do, which is scraping your information from LinkedIn. One thing that I like to do that's scrappier, and I think you do it too to some degree, is like sign up for events, and then you can see like the event list of people. And of course, people going to an event have a common interest as you. So it's a really good way to warm up connections before you go to an event, to reach out to them before or after, and just add them to your network and say, hey, looking forward to meeting you at this event. Perhaps we can grab a coffee or start the conversation even before then. As everyone knows, a good sales cycle is multiple touch points. So you can start getting to work on those touch points a little bit sooner. Awesome. I'd love to hear about some ideas you have for making these online connections into more meaningful and deeper connections, because I know you like.
Yeah, so my corporate training and my training as a real estate broker really put the CRM system at the heart of everything, right? So the idea of making meaningful connections with people, a few hundred at a time, right, is probably kind of where we were working before, but the world has changed since. Like, we have so many more opportunities to build an audience and build a following. But the idea is to build a very strong database, know people rather well. And LinkedIn in the B2B area is more important than, say, when you're dealing with consumers. With consumers, you could connect with them on LinkedIn, but they are probably more on like a WhatsApp or something. But I think the key then is, how do you make the connection wherever it is and bring it back to your CRM? So as we build our connections within LinkedIn, there's always this idea of how do you now pull back those contacts that you've made, have the appropriate email address for them and or phone number, and pull them back into your CRM so that you can create deeper and more meaningful connections. And I think in the world of CRM, there's the idea of the funnel, right? So when you're bringing people into your CRM, it's kind of the wide end of the funnel. You try to bring in as many people as possible, but then you're trying to filter people down. So you're trying to engage them. You're trying to get them to attend events. You're trying to get them to request specific information so that you know where their interests are. And then I don't think there's any replacement. There's no replacement once you really understand their needs. There's no replacement to that direct face-to-face contact. So these automation tools are great for bringing in the masses, but you got to find the 10 people that you can actually do business with.
Yeah, and I think that's always been my call to action. Pick up the phone, right? If someone's willing to take your call, pick up the phone, start a conversation. Nothing beats it. But it's about getting you to that point, right? Like, it can get you all the way to that point, but then you have to be willing to pick up the phone still.
Yes. And once you've built up the authority, built up your brand, and built up your audience, when you call them, it's no longer a cold call or a lukewarm call. It's a hot call, because they know who you are. They know that you know your industry. They know that you are smart. So when you make that call, they are ready to talk to you. They're not going to give you any BS excuse to get you off the phone.
Yeah. Another tool that's probably worth a mention would be our dear friend ChatGPT. And, where would it be appropriate to use that? Well, I use it sometimes to test different messaging. Say, okay, give me 5 different messages to whomever your target market is. Make them short and snappy, with the call to action being, book a meeting. And then you can, it just helps with the idea generation. You can tweak them as needed. And then another thing that I use it for, obviously, would be posts. So what I'll do is I'll write my feelings on a topic, right? For instance, my latest post was that I was going to Silicon Valley on Monday, and I'm going to be pitching an artificial intelligence startup to various SV investors, and going with a cohort of other female innovators from Canada to Silicon Valley with a shared mission to fundraise and scale. So I'm like, okay, this is so exciting. This is something I've really been building towards for like 2 years, and it's coming to fruition. So I share these basic elements to ChatGPT, and I say, the main thing that I'm interested in is that I'm at the table and creating and building the future. And I think that people that look like us need to be building the future. And so I asked ChatGPT to use what's called the PACE or past storytelling framework, where it's like, problem, action, solution, whatever. But there's various different frameworks that you can use. And you can ask ChatGPT what storytelling frameworks are there and say, okay, give it to me in 1 sentence per line, make it no longer than 300 words. And it'll spit out what you've said in a really engaging, hooky way that people are really used to seeing and engaging with, and that you've probably noticed as a pattern in popular content that's suggested to you on your feed, maybe not even from people you follow. So if you're wondering how people are writing these perfect and compelling stories that go with their posts, they're certainly using these prompts and these frameworks, and I invite you all to try them out as well.
Okay, good. So we talked about the importance of content, using technology to help you, I guess, hack content generation. Everyone knows we can get this text off of ChatGPT. We know that we can generate images off of the same. We talked about various tools, automation tools, the emergence of AI. But what we didn't talk about is what pulls all of this together, and that is strategy, right? So do we start with good content? Do we start with the tools, or do we start with strategy?
Definitely start with strategy first. You want to really have a clear idea of where you're going and the type of themes you're going to do for content. It's going to save you a lot in the long run, where you're like, oh, what do I post this week? What do I post this week? Man, if you have your strategy, you know what's relevant to post this week and every week. And I think a lot of people also are under the impression that you have to reinvent the wheel and have a different take and a different theme all the time. But I think a lot of the time people are retelling the same story in a different way from slightly different angles. But the best way to approach this is with a strategy, with knowing your target audience and your pain points with your target audience. And of course, having a real take on things, something that isn't just fence sitting. You need to have a strong stance towards something, a real pull and purpose and passion. And people really respond to that. And if you can nail that, then from there, build your audience. Because while you should always be working on content, if there's no one to like it or to see it as a base audience, it's not, you're going to get demoralized. So you want to make sure that you're consistently adding people to your network every single week.
Okay, so could you give us an example of a strategy that somebody might use, maybe one of the professionals? So you talked about target audience, you talked about a pain point that they're trying to solve. So what does that kind of strategy story look like initially? How do you help people develop that strategy? And why is it so important to develop that strategy before you start developing content or picking tools?
Yeah, I think one really good example would be a consultant that works she was in the retail sector as a corporate, like in the corporate world in a major grocery chain. And she wanted to go become independent, but she wasn't sure what she wanted to do. She had a few fires in the pan, but it actually never came to mind that she could be a consultant for CPG companies trying to get into major retail chains, because she was always on the retail side. But she has this plethora of knowledge over 20 years of this career, all these connections and insights and knowledge. And it's like, she was almost ready to walk away and do something completely different. And I'm like, well, hold on there, partner. Like, I think you have a real competitive advantage here. And so she thought about it. And I swear to God, Austin, within 2 weeks, she had her website, her LinkedIn page, her logo, her first clients, and multiple calls in the first couple of weeks, and a business partner. So, I mean, did I do most of that? Well, maybe just on the, logo, company page, workshopping side. But once she knew where she was going, all of her conversations just shifted and became so much more productive. And she knew what to ask from people. She knew where she could position herself in the world. And she was able to really like own that very quickly because she wasn't doing anything she didn't already know how to do. It was just telling her story in a way that was clean and clear instead of like, oh, I'm done with my corporate career, like, and then what, right? And then now I'm helping you get into all of these stores. So I really help with that and then part, and also focus on, okay, what kinds of companies do you want to help? She's very much in the green space, like very social impact oriented. So really clearly branding herself as someone that is socially impact oriented and staying true to that and knowing who you're for and who you're not for, right? I'm not for getting your toxic chemical into Walmart, right? I don't want to do that. I want to get your, very good protein bar into Whole Foods, and it's
Sure.
also giving back to farmers or part of the circular economy. So that kind of clarity really helped her, and she's been thriving since.
Now, one of the things that I notice in terms of working with so many clients over the years is often it takes somebody else to take a look at them and really understand or really help them to understand and clarify for themselves what they really want out of their business and sometimes even out of their life, right?
Yeah.
And so oftentimes we see people who are engaged on a certain strategy, but the strategy is killing them or the strategy is causing them to lose money because they've got some underlying belief that doing it a certain way is perhaps the only way to do it, or sometimes it's virtuous, or sometimes doing it the easy way just feels wrong. Do you come across that as well?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are attached to what seems to have worked for other people almost, or what
Okay.
worked in another business, or what worked 5 years ago. And those are all, in a sense, a sunk cost fallacy where it's like, okay, well, if I just give it another few months, it's going to pop off. But that's not necessarily the case. Ideally, you would start seeing some positive indications of results within the first 2 or 3 months. And I think the best example of this would be paying per click for SEO. I
Sure.
think, and also like appointment setting services that are very disconnected from like you and your company and your
Yes.
voice, like just paying someone from wherever to call and say, hey, do you want to meet with so and so? Like, that sounds crazy to
Yeah.
me, but yeah, you have to really center yourself, your values, and your knowledge at the center of your sales. People want to be told and not sold. So I think when you just go with these very shallow transactional type of approaches, you don't really end up getting a raving fan base. And I think that for most professional services entrepreneurs, that's really going to be the linchpin. For a lot of people, they had 100 raving fan clients a year. That would be, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, interesting thing, whether you're a consultant, a HVAC specialist, contractor, a buyer, a startup entrepreneur, there's, you're expected to be good at what you are at your business. You're not expected to be good at branding and marketing and understanding the latest algorithms from LinkedIn, understanding the tools from Dripify, right? If you're in AI, startup entrepreneur or the recruiter that you mentioned before, what you want to do is focus on your business, and you want to let other professionals help you to do the growth hacking, to build your network, to build your sales pipeline, right? Do you want to talk,
That's right.
just as we end, do you want to talk about a little bit more about what you do and how people can engage you to help them build their businesses?
Most definitely. So I am the co-founder of Rocket Fuel Marketing, as are you.
Right?
And we love helping entrepreneurs and small to medium-sized business owners to scale their businesses and to reach their B2B target markets through LinkedIn in a way that is healthy growth and really centering you in a personalized plan and strategy so that you can go from there and really grow and see some major strides in the next and see results within 2 months of starting our campaign. So I love the work that we do with clients. We work with everyone from construction to technology, and then of course, real estate, financial services, and beyond. So please do get in touch with us. I will put my info here, but of course, if you're watching, you know me. You know me. You know what's up. But Laura, Rocket Fuel CMO, right there. Would love to chat and just do a discovery call and check it out. See what you're up to. See what we can do.
All right, wonderful. Well, it's great talking to you today. I'm going to end this call by saying, "Go Jays!"
Go Jays.
Go Jays.
100%. Don't let us down, boys.
All right. So we've got an action-packed summer ahead of us, and I'm sure that we'll be busy with work, and we'll be busy enjoying the summer in Toronto as well. All right. So,
Farewell.
all right. Thank you for making the time today. Great talking to you, and we'll catch you on the flip side. All right.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.